Welcome to Thought Experiment Called Life. This is where unconventional thinkers and multi-passionate makers share their journey of creating meaningful lives, built on growth, creativity, and the courage to live on their own terms. I'm Greta, a musician, a martial artist, an herbalist, and a fellow traveler through this mystery we call life. Every other Tuesday, I bring you real conversations with rule breakers and path forgers. Subscribe on Substack for more resources, mindset, tools, and more.
Thank you for being here. I'm so glad to have you. Yes, our wedding photographer extraordinaire, and I'm just a huge fan of your work in general. Really, my goal is to highlight people who live unconventional lives, and the more that I've gotten to know you and see what you do in the world, I'm like, you're really doing it in a very unconventional way, and I find it really interesting and just wanted to kind of share it with everybody. So, so Katie Puc, or you said also the proper way of saying it is
Puc.
Puc. Okay, I just asked you and I immediately forgot.
Well, that's okay. It's such a weird one. It's Polish, but
Okay.
it's just Puc. Katie Puc is perfect.
Katie Puc. I love it. So when we were looking for photographers, we found you on the Knot and for our wedding. And your work just really stands out like a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was like, this girl's like, and everyone, there's so many beautiful, photographer, their work out there. It's really, really beautiful. But yours, you have like just a really, really strong eye for editorial style, in my humble opinion. There's extra attention to detail in it. And there's an artistry to it that goes beyond just like beautiful wedding photos. And then working with you, I was like, okay, I see it. You were so good about directing us to like, put your head there, stand there like this, do that, whatever. And I was like, this girl's a pro.
It helps that I grew up around it, but yeah. So
Yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you.
so
That's very kind.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I've worked with a number of photographers and wonderful photographers, but there are only a few who are really adept at like guiding people as they're posing, and so I noticed those things just from doing it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's an extra skill set that goes on top of already just taking a good photo. I think to be able to guide somebody, especially if you have people maybe who aren't used to having their photo taken, and it's like helping capture them as best as you can to make them as photogenic as possible. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about how you got into photography?
Yeah. So I basically grew up around it. My mom's a photographer, so I got it from my mama. But to be honest, I didn't think I would ever want to do photography. Growing up, my mom had a photography studio. She ran it through our house while I was growing up for a little bit. So we always had people coming and going at all times. She was photographing people there. And I was always like, I don't want to do this, but I learned a lot. I was able to listen to her and see how she works. I was blessed because she is also an amazing photographer, and she worked as an ambassador of light for Canon cameras, and they flew around the world, and she had tours that went around the world, and she taught photography to people, and so just all sorts of stuff. So I really learned it from her, but like I said, I never thought it was something I wanted to do. I was always the friend that like had a camera growing up, like little wrist strap camera, taking pictures of people and bringing it out to all parties and stuff. And every birthday, every party, like people would give me pictures because that's what I loved.
Yeah.
But and I hear something. Was that my phone doing that?
I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought there was somebody vacuuming or something.
No.
Oh.
So anyways, I never thought I wanted to do it. I went to college. I took a photography course because I thought, why not? Like I grew up around it. And then in college, I was like, I want money to go out and do fun things and buy clothes and all that good stuff. So I was like, Mom, do you have any extra cameras I can have? Maybe I can start taking photos. And that's really kind of where it began.
Oh, wow. Wait, I think I do still hear something.
Yeah, let me hold on. But yeah, anyways, that's the story of why I got started. So I learned everything from my mom, especially with the directing and posing aspect. I mean, that is what she was good at. That's what she went around the world teaching photography for. She went to China. She's taught people in China how to take photos. She's taught people how to pose. And so everything I learned from her. And then I would say I also learned from my brother, who is the master at directing people. Like I am so in awe of him every time I watch him do photography because he just is so natural at posing people and making people feel comfortable. So just between the combination of both of them, I stole the best parts of what they do and I tried to do it for myself. So
I love it. That's so cool. So your brother's also a photographer?
yeah, so I'm the oldest, he's my younger brother, but he works with my mom, so they're in business together. It's my mom's business. He'll eventually take it over. I still maintain I am an HR manager, so I love doing HR. I love having my regular day job, and part of that's because I can keep photography as a passion. Like, I can still do it and make money off of it, but I can really put my love and joy and artistry into it and not worry about making it my living. And that's something that once I started doing photography, I was like, I don't want to make this my sole living because I feel like it will take the joy out of it from me. And that's happened to me throughout my journey of photography too, where I relied a lot on photography and it kind of took the joy out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. That's a really good insight to pass along because part of what I focus on here is the multi-passionate side of life, right? So,
Yeah.
as you've known me now, I'm like in a couple different directions. There are things that I care about in terms of what I'm doing in the world and balancing that and making decisions about, when and how you share your time with those things is it's a really big factor in it for anybody who is feeling a creative call or feeling called in a couple directions. And,
Yeah.
having the decision making of, okay, how am I going to do this to actually set up my life in a way that it feels good? And like, how did you come to the decision that you knew that you wanted to have this job and not just work on photography?
Yeah, like I said, I've watched my mom. That's all she's done. My mom was actually the primary breadwinner in our house, so she owned her photography business and she owned it. That's where I got all of my work ethic from. But because of that, I also saw a lot of the struggles that she went through and how hard it is. I mean, photography to a lot of people is a want, not a need. And so because of that, there's times when things are really great and there's times when things are not so great. And so I think growing up, things were mostly great, especially, this is going to make me sound so old, but like the 90s, like through early 2000s when digital cameras and everything were really coming about and photography had this like moment and everything was all about photography. And it's a little bit different now with cameras on your phone and stuff. But I think for me, seeing those struggles, I was like, I just don't know if that's what I wanna do full time, like, I feel like kind of a baby saying this, but I'm like, I want someone to be able to, like, take care of, like, all the hard stuff, like, I wanna have health insurance and all of that. My plan originally was to go to law school and be a lawyer, so, like, that's what I went to school and studied for, and then I realized that's not what I wanted to do, so I've also just had, like, a weird career path. About 2020, oh my gosh, that was 6 years ago.
It's
Whew.
crazy.
2020, I got my master's degree in HR, and I realized, like, I love people, I love talking to people, it combines, like, my love of people, but it also allows me to have a stable job and then kinda do photography on the side. It's one of those jobs where I'm not necessarily, knock on wood, oh my gosh, tethered to my computer, like, 24/7 as an HR manager, which is nice, so I can kind of do both.
What would you suggest to somebody if they're kind of contemplating this similar approach, right? Like they have a creative calling, but they are also maybe looking for something with a little bit more stability, just so that because it's true, I've been self-employed for most of my life, and there are plenty of times where you're just like nail biting, like, oh my god, how are we going to do this? And then it's like everything's easy for a few months and then you're like, how am I going to do this? So it definitely is not for the faint of heart. And I think it is a really good, probably wouldn't have said this years ago, but I do think it is a good strategy to at least think about or consider how you can maybe like diversify your energy so that you have something that has a little bit more, like you said, like I want to make sure I've got insurance and like a little stability here so I can go be free over here.
I mean, the first thing is I'm kind of a chicken, so I've never taken the leap. I have a lot of friends that have taken the leap and do photography and creative stuff full time, and I am in awe and an envy of them. Like, I think it's so cool, and they are some of the hardest working, most incredible people I know. I feel like I'm brave to a point, but I'm just not quite that brave to let go yet. But also on top of that, I come from two creative people. My dad's a professional chef, my mom's a photographer, and Yeah, and so growing up, it was funny because they've seen obviously the struggles with both of them, and they've always said, get an office job, do that. And so my skills kind of lent itself towards that, and I realized I actually really liked it. And so I think for people that are, diversifying is a great idea, but for people that are like, oh, I want to follow my passion, but I also want a safety net, I think it's just important to really sit down and think about what you do. And I think there's a lot of intersectionality between your creative passions and diversifying yourself. I learned how to do some website design. I designed my own photography website. I learned how to do all of these things in HR. And so my plan is to always have a fallback with something. So, hey, if, I'm not making enough money in, HR for some reason, I can go and I can ramp up my photography and do that. Or if I am too focused on, HR work, then I can put photography to the side and really just focus on passion projects and things that I love. But photography is in my soul. I cannot go a day without looking on Pinterest or just checking stuff out, reading books, learning about photography and just seeing art inspires me. So I just feel like it's the core of who I am. So I can't really pull them apart. And that ends up that's what happens in my HR job. I become the photographer for events at my work and I do that stuff too. So I just try to use my skills to the advantage. And I think it really just depends on the person and what they're willing to do. I think the biggest thing to note with anyone, whether you're doing photography full time or trying to pursue two things, is it's a lot of time and a lot of effort. It's a lot easier to just go to a regular job and come home and not worry about anything at the end of the day. But when I come home from work, I'm now editing photos. I'm looking up new stuff for photo shoots. I'm doing contracts and stuff. So my workday doesn't end, and it's 7 days a week, 24/7. So it's a lot. So you have to be willing to not have personal time, if that makes sense. But
Yeah,
it's fine
yeah.
because you're passionate about it.
Totally. I think that definitely, yeah, for people who are feeling that call, right? Yeah, you are working all the time, but you're doing something obviously setting, it took me a long time to start setting boundaries around how much I was working. And I
I'm
put my
horrible.
phone, yeah, I mean, it took me a long time. I put my phone down at 9 and that's it's down. I don't want to look at it anymore because everything I do has something to do with my phone usually or the computer or whatever. And sitting, and that's why I go train too. I have little sections of areas where I go and make sure that I have some boundaries around it. But it took a long time. And, for people who are feeling, and the word that I've been using, and it sounds like the same for you, it's compelled. You're compelled. I can't not do music. I am compelled. I can't not do this podcast. I am compelled. I tried to avoid, doing some of these things that I just felt very compelled. But yeah, you have to love what you're doing and feel that joy of it for you, and then hopefully other people feel that joy too, and they will if you're feeling that joy. But I really love your approach. I think too, it was something I always felt like, at least growing up for me, it was kind of like an either or thing, and if you chose more of the office setting, I wish that somebody would have given me that advice actually, because it is really good advice just for the nervous system regulation of not having just straight being self-employed. But so I think for me growing up, yeah, it was kind of you pick one or the other. And if you pick that, then you won't have time for this. And so we live in a different time now where we have so many more tools. For instance, when I edit podcasts, I have tools that I can clip things down quickly. So before I was doing it manually, and that is just bananas. When I found the tools, I was like, oh my God, that just saved me entire. Yeah. Yeah, so we have so many tools to be able to do the creative projects that make things a little bit more streamlined. And so those things are there. So I think it's a really cool time for people who, if they're into creativity, to be able to kind of live in both worlds, especially the way that our world is right now. It seems like a good sound approach to really make sure you're safe and all of that, right?
Yeah, and that's not to say do it. I don't know. It's so hard because you look at people that are working and they don't have time to pursue their passions. And so it really is just a balancing act and trying to figure out what works for you. But I know especially nowadays, like, there's so many non-traditional routes of getting a career and going places and making money, like, stuff that I would never even consider or have considered, which I think is so cool. So, I think that's the biggest thing for me is just because something is, like, working for me, it doesn't mean, like, you have to do it the exact same way.
Sure.
I growing up, like, I was told, "Get an office job and you can do your fun stuff on the weekend," and now I see people that make that their whole careers that are, like, TikTok stars and doing magazine stuff, and it's awesome, and that's so cool.
Yeah.
I think I just because I grew up with that, like, traditional ingrained in me, it's still in my head where even if I wanted to, I'd still feel like, I have to go to an office in the morning." But, I think whatever people does that works for them makes the most sense.
I am really excited about the February 7th event. And that was really for me, again, with the world, the way the world is, and there's just so much going on. And people are upset and they're scared and they're feeling divided and the creative spirit suffers when we feel frightened, right? Unless you know how to channel that into your art. But the way that we're all exposed to the news, everything all the time, right? We're just getting flooded with everything all the time. And not to say that we shouldn't, pay attention to those things, be involved and all, right? Like all of that included, but we have to, in my very humble opinion, find a way to remain human in that, and especially in AI world and all of those things. And I just kind of compulsively always am like, create things, even like your dad being a chef, like create food, create
Yeah,
whatever, just even
anything.
jujitsu, be creative. I think that when we're
Yep.
creative, we engage a part of the way that we think about things, and it applies to everything. It's just a part of our brain, that we have that creative spirit. And on
Yeah.
top of that, the community aspect of it. So I was really, really taken aback because I didn't see I don't know when you started the community events. I'd love to hear how that kind of developed, but I think that is such a cool offering. I remember telling Matt, I was just like, this is amazing. She's doing this, like getting everyone together and they're all like models and photographers and meeting at a cool place. And nothing makes me happier than seeing that. And then also that you are leading that whole thing and you're leading a community of all of these people. So it was so cool to go to the one event, the holiday event, and see everybody just having a great time. The place reminded me of a theater. I grew up, my family was like musical theater. So it reminded me of a theater.
Uh,
Yeah. And like it reminded everybody getting dressed. I was just like, oh my God,
so fun.
it was so fun. It was so fun, just the energy of it, to see everyone having a wonderful time playing. I'm a huge proponent of people playing. So that was something that I really wanted to highlight that you specifically do because, you know, there are photographers out in the world, but that is unique. You're an incredible photographer who's now also saying everyone come play together. And I of course relate things always to jujitsu in a lot of ways, but like
Cool.
it's like an open mat for photographers. It's like how
Yes.
like it's and I think that in Colorado in particular, there is this collaborative spirit that is really incredible where it seems like people are so much more willing to play together, work together, and collaborate. And I
Yeah.
want to know your inspiration behind how that started. Yeah, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah. I feel like there's kind of a lot of little things that have gone into this. So I was born in Utah, grew up here in Colorado, but I went to college in Utah and I used to be Mormon. That's a story for another time in itself. But part of that is the culture in Utah, there's not drinking. There's really not a lot of drinking or anything like that. And so I was actually, at the time I was boxing and there was this community, this woman started it and she just wanted to do girl parties where you can get dressed up and have fun and they were themed and basically you just bring people together and there's no drinking and it's themed and it's fun and it's just everyone having a good time. And so this woman, her name is Chelsea, she started these parties and I just thought they were so much fun and so cool. And so I don't know, I guess I kept that in the back of my head. I ended up moving to Colorado, and it was 2017 when I moved back to Colorado. So I grew up here from Utah, but 2017 I came back. All my high school friends are gone. Everyone's dispersed. And so I moved back and I was like, how do I meet people? Like the job that I had at the time was working from home.
Mm.
And I knew I was like, I love doing photography, but I don't know how to meet people. So I really what started it is me trying to get stuff for my portfolio, and I would just reach out to anyone and everyone and, like, spend so much time looking at hashtags and people and going through people after people of people and just saying like, "Hi, I'm a new photographer, like, I'd love to work with you." And once I kind of got that established, I was like, "Okay, now I wanna meet more photographers." So there's another girl in Utah, Marina, I think is her name, and I had kinda seen some of the photography she hosts styled shoots, and I was like, "I really like that aspect of it, and I wanna do cool, fun shoots, but, like, I can't fund this on my own," is what the original, thought process was. Like, I wanna do these fun things, but I can't fund it on my own, and I also wanna meet people, so maybe there's a way to, like, combine everything. And then I remembered, like, those fun parties that I
Mhm.
used to go to in Utah, and it was just focused on, like, I mentioned the no drinking because it was focused on just fun and collaborative and safe and, like, everyone's just having a good time. And so I figured like, hey, maybe I can connect all of these things together here in Colorado. And so I think 2018, 29 no, 2019, I had reached out to some photographers and was like, "Hey, I follow you all. I think you're all cool." I threw us all in a DM group on Instagram. They may have hated it. I don't know, because no one knew each other yet. I just like added everyone to a group and was like,
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm really sorry to do this. You probably don't even know me that well yet, but I'm a photographer. I have an idea for an event that I'd love to do. Like, I'd absolutely love for us to see if maybe we could pool our money together and create something really cool and fun and special." And so that's what I ended up doing. It was a little wedding shoot that I did, styled shoot with these people, and they came in, and then everybody loved it, and they were like, "Let's do it again." And so I did it again, and that worked out great, and I ended up meeting a girl back in 2020, and she was a stylist, a photographer, all of these things, and was like, "Let's make a business out of this. Like, this is a great business idea." I started a business. We called it Creative Concepts Collective, and I started it with my former business partner. And we just did just that. We wanted to bring people in, and we started doing things that were like bigger and crazier and more exciting. And so we were trying to get like hot air balloons, and we were charging people. And we had, at one point, we had like, we created this neon desert thing. So we had a big like set with tons of sand, like literally tons of sand and cactuses. And I would reach out to random vendors across the world, and my feeling is like the worst someone can do is say no, and then it's kind of like, okay, whatever, it rolls off your shoulders. And so I would reach out to just, that's what I'd spend my time doing. I'd go on Etsy and find like people whose stuff that I loved on Etsy, art that I loved on Etsy, and reach out to them, find their Instagrams and say, "Hey, I saw your Etsy. Like, I would love to photograph your pieces. In exchange, I would give you like marketing material. Would you do that?" And so that's kind of how it started. Unfortunately, the business aspect of Creative Concepts Collective with the business partner didn't work out. It's really hard. Friendship and business can be really, really hard. So that did break up. But I think part of the reason for that breakup is I wanted to do these shoots and bring people together, but I was more about bringing people together than the money aspect, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. And so that's kind of where our ideologies kind of split.
Mm.
And so I stopped doing stuff for a while after like we ended our business, and I just realized like there was such a hole in my heart missing because I loved collaborating. I loved getting to meet makeup artists, and I loved getting to meet other photographers and models and all of that. And it was so much fun for me to be a part of that scene. And so when we stopped doing that and I stopped the business, I was like, I want to bring this back, but I want to do it in my way, which is like, let's do it without focusing on money. Like, if we want to get a venue, everyone pitch in like a couple bucks or whatever, and then we can get a venue, but let's just bring people together, or let's go to spaces where we don't need to pay anything. And it's really the focus is like meeting and hanging out and like taking fun photos. And so that's kind of what I brought back with doing that. And so this Love and Focus event is it's a dichotomy of like a lot of, that's probably not even the right word. It's a lot of different things coming together. And this is different from all of the events I've done before, where it's like a photo shoot, but it's also a party, but it's also an event. And I think it's really fun and different, and it's something new that I'm trying. And it's important to me to highlight like not only women-owned businesses, but just small businesses. And BlendCo, I had a friend that invited me to their fashion night at BlendCo, this venue that just opened down in Denver. And so I was able to meet the owner of the venue when I was down there at this event. And I was like, I'm a photographer. Like, I do styled shoots sometimes. Your venue's really cool. Like, I'd love to talk with you about hosting an event. And so we connected after, and it just kind of like blew up from there, where it's like, I really like, oh, I want to have a DJ, and I want to have photo sets, and I want to do this, this, and this, and I want to bring vendors in, and not like, my goal is not to make a profit with any of these things. Like, that's never been my goal. Even back, like, again, I mentioned the problem of kind of why we broke up. My goal was to pay exactly for the fees that we needed to pay for, and that was it, so that nothing or very little was coming out of my own pocket, where everyone was pooling their resources and money together so that everyone could like put a little bit in but get a lot out. And that's like kind of what I was like, I want to do that with this. Like, I want to make the tickets enough money where like I can get cool stuff and we can bring cool people in, but I don't care to make a profit. I don't really need to do that. I just want to bring people together. So I know it's kind of weird. A lot of people don't think like that, but for me it was more about community, and it was more about meeting people. I always say, like, I just want to find, like, I want to find new friends. I want to find people.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the best way to do that. So sorry,
Yeah.
that was a very long-winded answer.
I love it. That's why we're here. Yeah. Yeah. The community side of things. It was funny. I didn't really, like, growing up, I didn't know that, like, I didn't never really felt like I fit in anywhere. I didn't feel like I had a community. So I really wasn't like thinking about community that much, because I kind of was like, I don't know. But when training martial arts, I finally felt like I fit in somewhere. And then even then, I kind of didn't even put it together. Really, it didn't like really, really, truly become apparent to me as much as it is now, since when we moved here and our gym is like, as you know, you met most of them at the
Yep.
wedding, right? Like, they're our extended family. And it really just became so apparent, especially again, you know, how things are in the world, and how after COVID and everybody being so separated, that anything that involves community, and I am an introvert. Like, I'm definitely, my social battery is like not the biggest, but
Same.
yeah, when I'm with you, and that's why it's like I'm with you, and then I'm like, all right, I ran out of battery, I gotta go lay down
Yep.
or go into the woods or something. But the actual community aspect of things is just, I think we're craving it. I think people are craving it, and they might not even know, because a lot of people kind of had their formative years during the COVID time, where
Yep.
they don't really even have a frame of reference of the 90s, right? Of before.
I know.
You know,
Gosh,
the 90s, I know.
the 90s.
Yeah, they don't have a reference of that, where things were different, and it wasn't just, you weren't just on, this square device that tells you
Yeah.
everything that's going on. And the creative aspect of it, and inspiring each other, right? Like, that was something that was fun. It was just, again, like, it reminded me of theater. I love, like, being backstage at theater has a certain energy, and that event that at the what was it called again? The mansion.
Oh gosh.
Harrison.
No, like Grant Humphreys. Thank you.
Grant
I was like,
Humphreys. I'm like, Harrison? Grant Humphreys.
oh,
um, there was like a backstage energy, and everybody getting excited over like styling each other and what outfits and where to pose, and
yeah.
cheering each other on, and like watching what each other's doing. It was really, really beautiful to watch. And, just, I'm always looking for things that give me hope in this world, and that gave me hope. I was like,
But
yeah, which is why I was like, this might be interesting, so the event, you're going to have like 3 different sets, right? And then it's
yeah,
like,
so sorry to cut you off. Oh my gosh.
no, tell me. Tell me about
I was
it.
gonna say, I'll tell you kind of what the plan is. So with previous events, what really the focus would be is I would choose models. So if it was like a styled shoot, I would choose models, and then I'd have photographers come in and they would go to different sets with different models and do that. I realized that that's really like, while it's fun to do and it works for a lot of things, it doesn't work as well for building community, because you feel like you're just kind of rotating like scene after scene after scene. And so I started doing like these creative meetups, is what I called them. And it was more focused on like, hey, anyone can join, anyone can come. I'm not going to dictate anything. So like I'll bring props, you bring your own props, everyone brings their own stuff. Maybe we meet at a cool venue, maybe we meet at a cool park or whatever, but everyone brings their own stuff and you can all just mingle with each other, and whoever wants to work with whoever can do that. So it's not me dictating like, okay, you have 10 minutes on this set and you have 10 minutes on this set, because that, to me, it takes the fun out of it and it really is focused on, and there's a time and a place for that. Don't get me wrong. Like I know a lot of people do styled shoots and like that's their business and that's incredible, but that's not my goal in doing it. I just want to meet people and be around people. So with this Love and Focus event, I wanted to do the similar aspect of like, hey, I want there to be sets. I want people to feel free to move through and take pictures of on them. But I also wanted to elevate it a little bit where it could be like a party. And that's kind of something different that I haven't done with the other ones. I think the other ones have been really photography focused and, focused in that way with photographers and models. And this one, I was like, there's just so many people that are in the creative space that aren't just photographers and aren't just models, and they all have a place. I mean, for shoots, we use jewelry for shoots. We use all of these things for shoots and hair and makeup artists. And so I figured it would be a good time to like bring everyone in and highlight just the different types of creativity that there is. And so this event, like I said, it will have 3 sets so people can go around and take photos. Who doesn't love dressing up? I have to do a theme. Like that's just, so theme is there. So we'll have people dressed up, which automatically like is kind of a fun aspect for people to like, oh, we got to get dressed up and come together. There'll be food. There's a DJ that's going to be there. There'll be vendors around. And I tried to work with vendors that I've worked with personally, that I know personally, or that do something that's either creative or women-owned, small-owned businesses. Like those are the ones that I was trying to promote. And again, like there's no fee for them to come and join and be a vendor. Like I just wanted to highlight what these individuals are doing. And so that's kind of what this event is. Instead of photo focused 100%, it's like a party that you can take photos at and there's some cool sets on it. So models can come, and that's kind of why why I set it up so that from 4 to 6, if you want to come early, that's going to be the time for like photographers and models to come. So if you really want to like work with other people on the sets and, really get your shots in on the sets, that's what you can do. And the space is beautiful, so we can go around anywhere in the entire venue and take pictures there. But then from like 6 till 8, that's kind of like the party aspect where you're still welcome to take photos on the sets, but it's going to be more relaxed. There's going to be like more mingling and less kind of more of a fun atmosphere. So I kind of did it in 2 parts, if that makes sense.
I love that. And I'll be there interviewing people. So I'm excited just to like talk to when we were there for the event in December. Yeah. I mean, I'm naturally curious I'm like, tell me about yourself. How did you find this? What brought you here? What are you up to in the world? So when we were there, I was like, that would be, I feel like something fun to add to it too, where, highlighting, especially if people are coming together, whether it's the venues or the models or the photographers, like I also love that collaborative spirit where, most of what I'm doing here is wanting to share people's lives and insight, and show other people who maybe are feeling called to do those things other ways to think about how to go about doing it. We can all learn from each other. And I think you are doing that in such an incredible way. So yeah, I just thank you for having me be a part of that, because I'm excited to talk to everybody.
I'm so excited to have you there. And that's the one thing that like I tell everyone is that like I don't know anything at the end of the day. Like I am not the smartest person in the room. And I'm not trying to say this to put myself down or have people say that, but like there's always someone, in my opinion, that's doing something better, crazier, more exciting, and you can learn from them. And I really just take that as like a reason for me to learn, not for me to be like, oh, well, other people are better than me. It's like I could learn from anyone and everything. So that's really how I take it, is like it's all a learning experience for me. I learn so much when I do these things from other photographers, like how they shoot and how they pose and how they talk to people. And then I learn from models like, hey, what what do they like? What do they not like? I learn from vendors. And so to me, it's like, hey, at the end of the day, I just want to learn. I'm a curious person too, maybe in a little bit of a different way, but it's like I don't know anything, so I'm willing to try anything, you know?
I love that. I think it's a great yeah, and I understand you're not, like, saying, like you're not putting yourself down on it, and I think, I mean, I maybe just because I feel like I share the same opinion of that, right? I go,
Yeah.
I don't here's what I think I might know, but I don't necessarily know, right? And I'm very open to learning. I wanna learn. I love yeah, curiosity is exactly it. I'm extremely curious and wanna think about things differently, hence the name of this
Yep.
podcast. Like, how do you think about this? How do you think about this? Because I
Yep.
think when we look at things like that, our lives are so expansive when we are able to consider other perspectives and points of view and experiences. It just really opens up this, path and energy in our life as opposed to if you just kinda stick to, the way your family did it or the way your friends always did things and that kind of experience. Sorry, one second, my girl, she wants to come up.
No, you're good. Oh my goodness.
Usually it's the boy, but this is Moosh.
Oh,
You
poor
say hi, Moosh?
baby.
Yeah.
There. Oh, what a baby.
Yeah, she's a baby girl.
I love
She's
it.
been, like, loving anytime I play the keys, she's like, "Oh, is it my turn to
Is
play?"
it
Like,
is it my turn today?
I know.
Oh,
Really, like, yeah, all of a sudden, yeah, she just, she's like, "The keyboard is out, and I would like to sit in your lap." Alright, she's
mine heard my baby voice and he came running over like, "What are you
Oh.
saying to me?" He
Oh.
hates being held though, so he
Oh,
will stay on the floor.
is this a dog or kitty?
Yeah, it's a dog. Let's see if I can
Oh.
Dexter.
Oh, hi, baby. Oh my goodness. Hi, sweet
And then I
baby.
have another one. She's my old lady. She's asleep on the couch. She's a big Rhodesian Ridgeback, so
Oh
she's
my god. I love
hanging
them.
out on the couch. But yeah, they're
I
my children.
these are my children, I understand. I totally
Yep.
understand. But so we're very excited about February 7th, 100%, like,
Yes.
BlendCo and all of that. They're doing so much too, like, I've been following them, and they seem like they have really cool events all the time too,
Yeah,
so that's cool.
such cool stuff. They're really I mean, talking with the owner, Haley, and I really hope you get a chat with her there because she is incredible. And I've only met her, like, 2 times, but she has just this cool energy about her and her story of how she came to be at this company. It's cool, like, she started this company, but she just wants to make it a 3rd space. Like, that's her big thing, and her feeling is, like, everyone is so and I don't wanna speak for her, but what I got from her is, like, everyone is so pulled apart, and, the world I mean, in my opinion, the world is just so heavy right now, and so creating, like, this 3rd space where people can come together is important, and so that's why we wanted to work together because she wants to obviously promote her venue as a space where, like, she just wants creative people to come and hang out and, like, feel like this is a home for people, and for me, I want to bring those people to her, so it just really worked out in that
That
way.
yeah, that's so cool. Have you ever read The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell?
I've read some of it. I've read some of it, not all of it.
Yeah. I always think about it because there's, like, he has the 3 kinda descriptors of people. I always remember the maven and the connector, but you're definitely a connector. So, like, literally meeting the people and connecting them and it's cool. It's wonderful. We need that, and like you said, the world is heavy and, it's been always heavy, right? We just have different
Yeah.
kinds of heavy. I actually even was, like, going through you get, like, your Facebook memories, and I'll be like, "I
Yeah.
wrote this in 2017, and it sounds like I could have written it today," or whatever, you know?
Yep.
Um,
From 17 years ago, and then you're like, "That's how I know that I'm very old."
like, "All right." Yeah, I know.
Okay,
Um,
17 years ago, oh my gosh.
I know, I can't believe it's been around that long, that's crazy, you know? But I also this is just, like, a change of topic, but one thing that
Sure.
I thought was super cool when we first talked is that, we connected on Instagram and everything, and that you were a classically trained boxer and that you do Muay Thai. And I was like, we found the right girl. I was I was like, I love that so much. I would love to hear about
Right?
that part of your journey.
Yes, so again, it's funny because everything kinda connects back to photography in a way. When I was in middle school, actually, end of middle school, my mom that's another thing, that I learned from my mom is, like, meeting cool people and trading with them. Like, it's not always about the money. It's, about meeting people and experiences. And so she had a client come to her that was a karate instructor and was like, "Hey, would you want to trade karate first?" So she was insane, amazing. And so she started it. And then she was like, "This is a really good environment to bring my kids into." And so I ended up joining karate end of middle school. And like that became my life. And so I spent a couple years at like the dojo, the karate school where I was. And then there was some movement, but I developed like my best friends in the entire world at that time from there. And then I ended up moving karate schools and then to Kempo. So I started doing Kempo, which is a very different kind of karate. And that was during my most performative years. So, but they were just such a good group of people. But I lived, eat, breathe, slept like Kenpo karate. That's all I did. So I would get up and I would go to school. And then right after school, I'd be dropped off at the karate school. And I would be there from like 5 o'clock in the afternoon till like 8, 9 o'clock. And we would go to dinner and all of our families were friends with each other. So we would spend like weekends hanging out and watching like the fights and UFC stuff. And everyone's parents would host like a different party every single weekend. And the party was just for like the karate students to come hang out and have a safe place to like hang out. And so that was so important to me growing up. And I love that. And that's again, just another aspect of community where I was just like, I was so involved with like karate. And then I went to college and I just really didn't have anything out there and life happens and I'm trying to learn college and all of that. So that kind of fell by the wayside. But towards end of college and I had been out of college for a little bit, I was craving like, I need to work out. I need to like get healthy again. And so I had a person that I worked with, a friend that I worked with at the time who was like, "Hey, I'm actually a boxing instructor. Why don't like I trade lessons for you and kind of teach you privately boxing? And in exchange, like you can do some photos of me, whatever, some like business headshots." And so I started that. And then he became like my private coach. And then I really got into boxing and I just loved it, like classically trained. And again, it came to like the eat, sleep, breathe, like boxing. And I did it all the time, which I loved. And then I ended up moving to Colorado, back to Colorado to be with my now partner. And I lost that community again. So I went from having like that boxing community to just not quite finding anything like it out here. And I eventually like had some health issues and stuff, but I eventually started Muay Thai again and I love that. And it's a different type of community and I think it's incredible. But yeah, my whole life I've been involved with like creativity and sports, but I was never like your typical traditional sports person. Like I never wanted to do that. I want to like punch and hit things and like I love it. So
Yeah.
yes, that is kind of where I'm at. I got so busy. I haven't been to Muay Thai for a really long time, but I'm trying to find like establish that community. And so that will always be a huge part of my life for sure.
I love that so much because it's, I think a lot of my audience is still from my old mailing list, basically from my haute couture when I had my jewelry business. And I didn't talk about training quite as much. So to them who've hung in there with me, because I've been talking about it a lot recently, but it's for me, same. Like I have the creative side and the martial arts side, and I am such a huge advocate for people training in general, especially women, people training in general. There's like the benefits go beyond, they just go beyond, you have physical benefits, but you have the community. You are learning something in a way that you can apply anywhere in your life. And I just spoke to one of my old mentors from Krav Maga and he put it really well where he's like, if I have a problem somewhere else in my life, like it's not quite as hard for me to deal with sometimes because I've already been doing the tough stuff. Like you already have put yourself through something tough, whether you're doing jiu-jitsu and there's somebody on top of you, whether you're doing boxing and, you're getting punched, or you just have a hard workout and you want to quit, but you don't. And finding that, I joke like find the dog in you and be able to bring that out. You can call on those things in your life. Like I know when I got really sick with Lyme, like I would have not handled it the same and not gotten through it the same with I mean, I was definitely didn't have a great attitude for a long time, but I eventually found it. And I know that I eventually got there because of my training. Like that was, some of it's innate, but so much of it was built into me to problem solve and find a way to make
Yep.
it through, and you learn that in martial arts. And I think it's important I think maybe just because I, wanted brothers to wrestle with and beat up all my life. But I think from teaching people for so long and having spent so much time in communities, I've seen people come in who go, I don't know, I want to try it, but I'm not really sure. And the moment they actually like get in there, right, and have whether they're rolling for the first time or they're like punching
Mhm.
something for the first time, like really, cracking it. And this like thing,
So electrifying. It really
electrifying. That's such a good
love
way
it.
of putting it. Yeah, you just see the electricity go through them and they're like, "Oh my god, this is so much fun." And a whole
Yep.
side of them comes out that they didn't even know. It's like I know in the self-defense world, there's like some people who don't like the word empowering, and because it's kind of like somebody's giving you power or whatever. And
Yeah.
I think I think that's an interesting way to think about it. And how I kind of think it is, it's like activating your power, right? We
Yeah.
have it. You're activating it. And I've had to come back and forth to training too. And it's like you find different pieces of yourself, right? You have to take a break for whatever reason and you come back and you're like, oh my God, I remember like who I am
Yeah.
right now in those moments. And yeah, so I think, I mean, again, reasons that I love you. I was like, I love that you're in this creative space. You appreciate the collaboration and you also have a deep love and understanding of martial arts. Like it's part of you. And
Yeah.
it's played a role, it sounds like, throughout.
Yeah, it's definitely like my fondest memories truly growing up were d- being in martial arts with my friends, and we would travel and go to tournaments across the US and like the road trips with them and going to Florida and Disney World with like your karate teammates and meeting people from all different walks of life from you in the same room and you're all working towards achieving the same goal. Like it's just really, really inspiring. And so I definitely think that's played a part in just like the community that I want to build or my desire to have community is because I've been blessed to be a part of so many different communities that have been so ingrained into making me who I am that it's like I just want to share that with other people. Like, I want other people to find their people and, like, hey, maybe it's not with me. Like, maybe I'm not your person, but maybe like another person at my event is like your person. And so I think that's kind of my goal. And like, I just want to have memories. Like, I don't know. That's just, I, I'm I'm a Cancer, so, like, that's my sign, yes.
Yeah.
So, it's funny because 'cause I'm not really into, like, that stuff a lot, but then I think of stuff with myself and I'm like, "Okay, this is so me," but, like, memories are so important to me and, like, nostalgia and everything, and so, like, anything and everything I do, I'm like, I wanna bring back that feeling of, like, having a giant group of friends that, like, I didn't have any best friends, everyone was my best friend, and going to tournaments and, like, I don't know, just working together, I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's so important. Like I said, I think, that the focusing, like, I'll say for me, when I really started focusing on that, on having memories and experiences, like that's the richness of life that money,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe money contributes to the actual experience, right? But when you actually connect with people, and like you said, you guys did events as well that were not financially based. It was just getting together and having a good time.
Yep.
And there are so many different ways that we can gather and be together, even if you're an introvert, or or is it when you're like a kind of extra
I
introvert?
call it an ambivert, I feel like they have a new term for it, but that's what I am,
Yeah.
I need my alone time for sure. And I can I don't you'll probably see it too at events that at this event, but any other event. I love to put on these events and I love to bring people together and I love to see it all come to fruition. But when it's happening and when it's at the event, like I get so uncomfortable. Like I hate when I had to speak in front of everyone and explain that. Like I don't love doing that. I just want people to go off and do their own thing. Like I don't want to be the center of attention. I don't want to be the focus. I want to bring people together, make it happen, and then just let people do their stuff. And then I enjoy it too. But then I can like be done. I don't know. I'm definitely both. Like,
I love
I,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, same. I very much share that. I was actually thinking, I don't know if you know this is just super random, but the Christmas movie The Night Before with Seth Rogen and
I haven't seen it yet.
oh, it's so good. It's so
Is
good.
it?
Okay, I won't
Okay.
spoil it
I'll
for you,
watch
but
it
there was
now.
a big party, and at the end, you'll know why I mentioned it.
Okay.
It's hilarious. I mean, it's a great movie just anytime. It's really, really funny, and it's just like
I
a
love
feel
it.
good.
I'm always looking for new movies. Even if it's
Yeah.
not Christmas, I'm always down for the Christmas
I
spirit.
mean,
Either
I
way.
feel like I would watch that movie not even at Christmas. Like, it's a funny it
Okay.
just yeah, it just makes you feel good. It's just like a feel good
Yeah.
comedy. Yeah. But there's like a big like the theme that's going on is they're trying to get to like this really big party that's like I think it's called like the Nutcracker Ball or something like that. But I feel like you would like it in so many ways
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So it's super random, but for anybody
I love it.
watching or listening, check it out. But yeah, what would you recommend for people who are resonating with this if whether they're, a photographer or creative or whatever, how would you suggest, like, for instance, when you went and just started messaging people and reaching out,
Mm.
if somebody's feeling like, I want to do that, but I'm not really sure, like, are there some insights you can provide that might help them?
Yeah, I that's something that I've thought of, and I kinda mentioned it before, and it takes practice because trust me, I still am working on it, but my philosophy is the worst thing someone can do is say no. And so when you're reaching out to people, like, I've had people be rude back to me before, and, you just leave them with kindness. If I've reached out to people, I'm like, "Hey, I'd love to work with you." I've had people that say, like, "Oh, you can't afford my fees," or whatever, and that's okay. I say, "Oh, thank you so much for letting me know. Like, I really appreciate you responding to this message. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Like, I wish you like all the best of luck. I love your stuff. Wanted to compliment you and see if we could work together." And I think coming at it from a kindness perspective and looking at it like everyone is busy, everyone has stuff going on. So again, the worst anyone can say is no. And just trying and trying again, and I think just continuing to try is important. Like, I didn't have when I first started doing this, so many people were like, "I don't know who you are. Like, who are you? You have no following or whatever is important. Like, you have no bases, no portfolio, so why would I do that?" And so you can't make a portfolio, you can't get followers and do all these things unless you try. And so it's like being comfortable with being told no, but also just continuing to try and doing it anyways. Like, even if everyone says no to me, like, I'll figure out a way to do it myself. That's fine. Even if I don't sell enough tickets to this event, like, this event is still going to happen one way or another. You know what I mean? And so I think it's just the advice I would give is like, be willing to try and be okay with hearing no and finding a different solution. If one person says no, fine, go find 12 other people and message them because there's bound to be one person that says yes. And I feel like that's something that I've found to be true. So,
And also, I'm sure you found too that, like, this is like on a philosophical note. A lot of times, I'll say I get fixated on like, I want to work with this person and do this thing, right? It took me so much practice to be like, if that's the best thing to do, though, right? Right?
yep,
Like
yep,
leaving it up and being like, this is what I'm gonna go for. But like you said, try because I know I have to reach out to people all the time, music and
yep,
podcasting and all of that, right? And I'm just like, hi, hi, hi. And generally don't hear back, or maybe hear back a little bit, then you
yep,
gotta follow them up and then do those things. And then, you know, if you let it, the universe will work in really, really weird ways that you're like, how did that
indeed.
even work out? I didn't even that, I would meet X, Y, and Z, or these people happen to make these decisions that made me work with this person instead who connected me over here. We just don't know how things work sometimes. So
That's
allowing that, like, yeah, like allowing it to be not what you thought it was going to be or not who you thought you were going to work with. And as one of my friends in one of the interviews, he was just like, I'm okay with whatever happens, and
yep,
things happen because he's okay with whatever happens. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
That's
Well, this has
awesome.
been so wonderful. I know we're about an hour and,
Feels like no time at all, but
I
no,
love
this was so fun. Thank you for having me. I
oh,
loved it, even though I am a long-winded talker, but
Listen, that's what we're here for. Yeah. Anytime you want to
There's
come
some
on.
change of sceneries and some mic issues, but
I
thank
love
you for sticking through it with me.
Oh my God. I'm so happy to have you here. And I'm so happy to be connected to you and talking about like the random workings of the universe. I definitely, you stood out for a reason. It all worked out in that way for a reason. And I'm very grateful for that. So,
Thank you. I'm grateful for our friendship and
yes, my
for all
love.
the fun things, and I'm so excited for you to meet all the people coming here. I just know there's gonna be so many different people for you to talk to that is just gonna be awesome. So,
I know. I'm super excited. Yeah, I love, like I said, obviously, I love hearing people's stories. I'm like, I like story time.
like, tell me everything.
I know. Tell me your life story. Go.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening, and I'll see you
Same,
on
and I'll
February
see you on the
7th.
7th. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye.
How long till we remember the truth and listen carefully? We've waited patiently. It's an honor just to be. I look at my hands with wonder and